Time to rethink everything you know about drum technique, because it turns out chasing perfect technique is one of the biggest mistakes beginner drummers make. I've seen it stall hundreds of players, slowing their progress and sucking the fun out of learning. So in this video, I'm going to show you why perfect technique doesn't actually exist, the one simple skill you should focus on instead, and why no one's teaching it this way. It all starts with a scientist, a blacksmith, and something no one saw coming. So back in the 1920s, a super smart scientist named Nikolai Bernstein was given a problem to solve. The Russian military asked him to figure out the perfect hammer swing of a master blacksmith. Why? Simple. If they could figure out the perfect hammer swing, they could teach it to the rookie blacksmiths. Now remember, this was way before motion capture and even computers, so Bernstein had to get creative. He strapped little light bulbs to the blacksmith's arm and then took pictures with a long exposure camera. When he developed the film, it showed the glowing trails of light tracing every swing of the hammer. And here's the crazy part. Out of more than 500 swings, no two were ever the same. The blacksmith didn't have one perfect movement. He was constantly adjusting every single swing, tiny changes mid-motion to make sure it hit perfectly every time. So as a beginner drummer, what does this mean for you? You're not supposed to repeat one perfect stick motion over and over, because that perfect motion, it doesn't exist. What matters is adapting as you play to get the sounds you want. But if perfect technique doesn't exist, what do you focus on instead? One simple skill almost every beginner gets wrong. And when you get this right, everything gets easier. It all starts with how you hold the sticks. Let me show you the top 3 mistakes I see the most. Mistake 1, the pincher. First up, gripping your stick with just your thumb and index finger and letting the other fingers sort of float about. It feels like you're controlling the stick, but in reality, the stick has too much freedom. We only want it to be able to move up and down, not in all these other directions. And worst of all, you prevent yourself from ever using your fingers for control later, because they're not even on the stick. Mistake 2, the pointer.
It is time to stop pointing fingers! Finger pointing gets us nowhere! Steve!
Next up, stretching your first finger out along the stick, kind of like you're pointing at someone. I see this a lot. The problem? The stick can't move within your hand. This will generally produce buzzing, as the stick is not allowed to bounce back. And mistake 3, the Neanderthal grip. Less common, but it still happens. You ditch the thumb completely and grip the stick full caveman mode. The problem here is simple. There's no pivot. Much like a seesaw, the stick needs a central point to move around. So now you know what to avoid. Let me show you exactly what you should be doing so the sticks can work with you rather than against you. Step 1, start with your very best Neanderthal grip. Wrap your whole hand around the stick like you're holding a club, with about an inch or 2 of the stick poking out the back of your hand. Step 2, line your thumb up with the stick, like you're about to change the channel. Step 3, and this is something I wasn't shown until like my 8th year of drumming, and it changed everything about how I play. Relax your index finger. Just let it hang on the stick and let the back 3 fingers take control. This will keep your hand relaxed, give the stick enough freedom to move, and set you up for those must-know techniques in the future. But you've still got a problem. Your grip has to work while you're actually playing. So here's what to do next. Start simple, play single hits, hi-hat, snare, toms, crashes, and pay attention. Is the stick bouncing off each surface? Are all your fingers and thumb in contact with the stick at all times? Are you relaxed? If the grip holds and everything's good, winner. If you feel tense, hear any buzzing, or your stick is moving around too much, stop, reset your grip, and go again. Next, you can look at single strokes at varying speeds, moving around the kit. And if you know how, also switch between beats and fills. This is the real test. Not just can you hold a stick, but can you hold it right while making music? Now, there's no need to spend hours on this, just check in for a couple minutes at the beginning of your practice. This in turn will make you more aware if something starts to slip during your practice. Once you get this down, everything else on the drums gets easier. From the things you already know, to the things you're yet to learn. But it does raise a pretty big question. If it's really that easy, why is everyone so focused on these must-know techniques? The truth is, there's been a whole area of science studying how humans move for over 100 years. But most drum teachers, and even most people, have never heard of it. When I'm not teaching drums, I coach jiu-jitsu classes, and it's exactly the same.
What my instructor has taught me has been taught by his instructor, and then his instructor, and then refined over the years.
For years, people have just copied what their instructors did, and their instructors copied their instructors before them. Nobody questioned whether there was a better way to teach. So these must-know techniques are taught as early as possible without consideration as to whether it's the right time or whether they're even necessary. The same thing happens in drums, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone. We've been stuck in this tradition of slow, perfect movements over and over again, aiming for every shot to be identical to the next. But remember what the blacksmith showed us. That's not how skilled movement actually works. So how do you know when to learn these techniques? Or if you even need to learn these techniques? Here's a real simple rule you can follow. If what you're doing works, if it feels good, and it sounds good, then it is good. Don't change a thing. But when something starts to feel off, if your arms are getting tired too soon, you can't get the speed or power you want, that might be your signal to learn something new. You don't need perfect technique as a beginner, and it doesn't really exist as a pro. You just need something that works so you can get on with the fun stuff, like learning what to actually play on the instrument. Because wasn't that the goal in the first place? So you've sorted out your hands, but of course, your hands are only half the problem. Most drummers struggle with their feet right from the get-go. So watch this next video where I'll show you how to get maximum power with minimum effort and set yourself up for a whole bunch of awesomeness in the future.